Hi, welcome to the Aortic Kitchen. I am Chef Rob Seltzer, known as the Aortic Chef.
And I'm Mindy Seltzer, the aortic dietitian.
And I want to thank you for watching us tonight. This is season 2, episode 10, and it's supposed to be getting the grill on. We're going to make a little change to that tonight. We're going to do all the stuff that's on the menu, but I'm in Florida and it's raining, so we ain't going to be grilling tonight. So that's like being a chef and being a caterer. You always got to have a plan B. Got to adapt to the environment. So instead of grilling, we're going to air fry.
On with
And
the show.
yes, a lot of people do say that it's the best steak ever. I have a chef that worked for me, and she swears by it. When she got an air fryer, she says she'll never cook a steak another way because it is the best. So we're going to try it out tonight and see how it works. I've already done some ahead of time, and it does work. So this is going to be our last program of the season. The next time you see an actual Aortic Kitchen, it will be season 3, and that'll be sometime next fall because the Aortic Dietitian and I are getting ready to hit the road on a road trip, and we'll be gone for several months. I will be sending pictures and hopefully videos from the road, and you'll see what's going on just because I'm on the road doesn't mean I don't cook, because we'll be staying in some nice places like Colorado where we'll be in a condo with a kitchen, and hopefully should be doing some recording from there, and maybe out in the middle of the woods when we're camping in Wisconsin where there's no electricity. So that could be fun too, a little campfire cooking or fish fry, right? And so who knows? You'll find out. Just stay tuned. Watch me, the Aortic Chef on the Aortic Hope page, and you'll see what's going on. Okay, because I'll keep it going. Try to do stuff on every day. So tonight we're doing beef part 2. If you remember, a few weeks ago, actually about a month ago, I had Deanne Maples from the Florida Beef Council, and we talked about beef and how it can be a part of a heart healthy diet, an aortic healthy diet, which is true as long as you know how to buy and cook and eat the right meat. Okay, and we're talking mainly beef here, but I mean chicken as well. Because I mean there's lots of good data out there. Even a nice lean piece of meat, I think ounce per ounce has less cholesterol fat than a piece of like a chicken breast, right, Mindy? Right? She says yes. She's over there nodding her head. So so much for the chickens. You know how that Chick-fil-A thing, eat more, the cows say eat more chicken. Nah, eat more beef. But it's all about the portion and it's all about the cut. All right. So we're going to do 3 different types of dishes tonight. They all involve marinades, because also one of the things you need to do when you're using leaner cuts of beef is it helps to marinate them, because you then infuse the meat with flavor and with fat, because the fat that we don't have in that lean beef is where a lot of the flavor comes from, because fat carries flavor. It's not the fat itself. It does. Fat has some flavor itself, but it carries a lot of the other flavors. So we have to add some other healthy fats. So I'm marinating with some olive oil and other flavors for the different things. We're doing Speedies, which is a upstate New York item from years and years ago. They still make them. They still love them. They're basically little kebabs. They've made them for years with beef, with lamb, with chicken, with pork. It's a lovely fresh marinade, with parsley and oregano and herbs and mint and garlic. And you put the meat in there and makes kebabs and you grill it. Okay. And you put them in, they normally serve it in Italian bread. And then I have skirt steak tonight, and we'll talk about skirt steak with the chimichurri, the Argentinian dish of chimichurri sauce, which is a really delicious, easy to make sauce. And skirt steak is the traditional steak for that. And then last, we got to have some dessert. So I'm going to do a drunken pineapple. You know me, any chance I get. But it's just, we're going to marinate some pineapple in a little bit of rum and brown sugar, and then we'll grill that as well. It's absolutely delicious. A little ice cream, a little bit of whipped cream. You'd be amazed. Everybody's like, oh, don't use whipped cream. It's bad for us. Too much fat, too many calories. A serving of whipped cream has what? Was it 6 calories? 15, I'm sorry, 15. I always try to cheat it. 15 calories. That's it. In a serving of whipped cream right out of the can, the aerosol stuff. You're only supposed to use a mini says a tablespoon, but even if you have 2 or 3, that's only 45 calories. It's still nothing. Okay, so it's not that big a deal. You just don't take that whole can and eat the whole thing, all right, or make your own. The aerosol does have more air in it than whipping your own whipped cream from a carton. So it's healthier to use and it's easier to use the stuff out of the can. Okay, great stuff. So let's talk about that pineapple as we go on. So, because I got to get that going first. So here's a nice fresh pineapple. What I'm going to do with it, typically, when you do pineapple, you peel it and you got to do all that. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that, but got to take off this top. And I don't have my strength. There we go. Just twist it. Okay, twist it. Take it off if you want. If you live in Florida, you can stick that in the ground and it will eventually grow another pineapple in about 2-3 years. Takes forever, but you can start it in water. We have a whole pineapple garden in our backyard. And now, how do we know when it's ripe? This one is a little green, but we're going to cook it, so that's okay. And it's all for demonstration. But, they should smell like pineapple. That's not quite there yet. And that green should turn a nice yellow brown. Okay. And another good hint with the pineapple is to store it in your kitchen. Don't put it in the refrigerator. And you can leave some of that stem on, the flower, the green, and put it upside down in a glass or some sort of jar or container that will hold it, and store it upside down. And the sugars from the bottom, which come up from the ground, will travel down through the pineapple and makes it much better, much sweeter, much juicier pineapple. And we've only learned that recently, and we are doing that now on a regular basis, and it makes a big difference. Okay, so when you have your pineapple, we've got to make it manageable. These are, there's not a real knife-friendly and customer-friendly fruit, but you want to cut it straight down at each shoulder. So the top shoulder for this particular use, and the bottom, because we're going to make it safe to cut. Don't worry if you're not real straight. It's always a little difficult. Okay. Now, for this particular purpose, I'm going to, I would cut this in half. Okay. And then I would cut those into slices. I just want to show you, though, if you're going to cut a pineapple, and with a lot of fruit of this nature, even cantaloupes and watermelons and honeydews, if you're going to peel them, one chef trick, peel them whole. Do what I just did. Whether it's a watermelon, you can cut that in half, but a cantaloupe, a honeydew, cut the top and bottom off, and then peel the whole thing while it's still whole from top to bottom. And just work your knife on a little bit of a curve instead of cutting it in half or into wedges and then peeling it out of the wedges. And this is the way you get the most yield. Then you split it in half and take all the seeds out. But the pineapple, the thing I'm trying to tell you here as well is you have to lose some fruit, okay? You can't just try to peel it like a lemon and take a little bit of the skin off because you don't want the inside. You need to get past these. These are the seeds, okay, the eyes. And you've got to get deep enough so that you can get past that. So you got to back your knife behind it, and then you're going to cut down. And so people like to go a little bit to the side, and you're like, oh my God, you're cutting off so much pineapple. But I'm not. And you see? So then the next cut, a little bit smaller, but back it up behind those eyes. And see, there should be none of these here showing when you're done cutting, because you can't eat those. All right. They just, you can't break them down. And they can, they cut your tongue. So, all right, so make sure you trim it all the way. Now, for this particular dish, I'm going to cut it in half this way. Then always trying to lay it down and use the flat side. We're going to cut nice semicircle. Get nice 6 out of each side to give me 12 portions. Okay, so we've got 12 nice portions. And then now you can also, if you want, take your knife and remove the core first, which I probably should have done, but it's not, you don't have to, because you're guests are going to knife and fork this anyways. So, okay, there we go. Cut that out. Makes it a little bit easier. Now, this is not going to look great, but that was all for demonstration purposes, so you all understand. And I got a little extra out of this one. Okay, there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is marinate them. I have a marinade already made with some rum. You can use light or dark rum. Also, tequila works really good with pineapple. It's a really good marinade for fruit and fruit salads and stuff. A little bit of tequila and lime goes a long way. Now, I need to let this marinate somewhat, so um, it won't be quite as long as I'd like it to be. But so I got to stir up this. I got this is a half cup of rum, a half cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a half teaspoon of cinnamon. You can put anything else in there that you like. Also, it tastes a little bit alcoholic, but once the pineapple juice mixes with it and everything, it's going to sweeten it up, and it'll be really good. And then when you take it out, it all that sugar browns and caramelizes, and it's really delicious. And don't throw away the marinade when you're done, because you can actually make a nice sauce out of this too. We'll put this in the bag, zip it all up, air out. There we go. All right, see that? Good bag, and I'm just going to toss around a little bit, make sure I get it in between all the pineapple slices I threw in there without busting a hole in the bag. There we go. Success. All right, I'm going to set this to the side, and I'll cook this later. We'll let it marinate for a while, but you get the idea. I like to do it, a couple hours before dinner. If I got people coming over, this is part of my afternoon prep. You can't really over soak it, so don't worry about it. Not going to hurt it at all. All right. That was quick and easy, right? Any questions? Class? No? Okay, good. I didn't want to answer anyways. So grab a couple towels here. Start again. There we go. So pineapple's fun, easy, great dessert. Like I said, a little bit of vanilla ice cream or some sherbet or sorbet are all good with that. Anything citrusy, creamy, all goodness. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, I am going to start with the skirt steak and the chimichurri. Okay. Now the chimi, as I said, this is a regular Argentinian dish, and we're going to make it the Argentinian way. There are other national Argentina, Uruguay are the two majors, but I've had Peru and other places in South America stuff as well, and they change some of the spices. Typically, it is made with parsley, okay, and lots of parsley, fresh parsley. This is a cup of fresh parsley, okay, and some of my other chef stuff make it with cilantro. I happen to like that too. So if you want to use cilantro or blend cilantro and the parsley together, that's great. We've got some garlic. You could use some pepper, some red wine vinegar, and some olive oil. And for those that typically it is spicy, and you use crushed red peppers, okay? They don't use fresh chilies. There are recipes out there, and you can use a jalapeno or a New Mexico chili or whatever you want, a Thai chili, if you prefer to use fresh. But traditionally in Argentina, it is made with dry. And then also some fresh oregano and a couple tablespoons of fresh oregano. So I did go out today. Mindy went out today and bought me a lovely fresh oregano plant. Okay. And all we do with that is, we just take our fingers and strip it right off the stems. Really, oops, throw away the stem, keep the leaf, Rob. Really simple. Okay. And if you don't have this, if you want to substitute dry spices for fresh, or herbs, I should say, typically cut it in half. So if this called for 2 tablespoons or even less, 2 tablespoons of fresh oregano, you could probably get away with 2 teaspoons of dry. Because remember, it's dehydrated, so you're taking all the water out. So those 2 tablespoons shrink all the way down, right? Right. So 1/2 to 1/3 the amount is your typical reduction if you're going from fresh herbs to dry. And there's nothing wrong with dry, especially if you give it time to hydrate. Now, if you're going to use this and serve it right away, well, maybe you want to make sure you try to get the fresh. But if you got time to let it sit around for a few hours and let that oregano hydrate, or even parsley, there are recipes for it with dried parsley, but then you add a couple tablespoons of hot water to the parsley and oregano, and then let it hydrate before you continue on. Okay, so I'm going to do this the easy way, guys. I'm going to turn my back for a second, because you can hand chop this. It's got to be all chopped up fine, but the easy way, let's use technology. Let's use equipment. So I'm going to use my handy dandy food processor back here. See if I can bring this all the way over. I could. This is, yeah, you can see that. I can watch it on the monitor there. Okay, so we're going to put everything in but the olive oil. So we put our parsley and oregano. You put some fresh cracked pepper. And I'm going to leave the crushed red peppers out right now because we're going to, obviously we eat this afterwards, and a member of my family does not like spicy things. So I can take some of hers out and then add the red peppers to the rest. Our garlic cloves, three to four, 2 to 4 garlic, depending on how much garlic you want. We need a couple tablespoons of red wine vinegar. 1. All right, there we go. And that's about it. It'll be about a third a cup, half a cup of olive oil, 1/3 to 1/2, depending. You can cut your calories back by not using all the olive oil. It won't be quite as good, but so here we go. We're going to pulse, run it. Pulsing helps to mix things up, throws it from top to bottom. And we don't want a really fine puree for this. We do just want it kind of a coarse puree. We're going to mimic like it was hand chopped. All right. Oh, there's an errant oregano. Let me throw this back down here. Yeah, I got some big chunks of garlic there still. There is a trick for garlic with a food processor. I didn't do it tonight, but before you put everything else in, take open up the little cover here, and you run the food processor and just drop your garlic cloves in one at a time. They'll bounce around and they'll totally chop up before you add any of the other ingredients. So it's always a nice little idea. All right, so I'm going to measure out my olive oil. This is really good Sicilian extra virgin olive oil. You want to use an extra virgin for this. We're not cooking. We're using it cold. Like I said, cold application. Okay. So let's see if we can chop this. Okay. And we really don't even need to emulsify in the olive oil. You can just, oh, I already had a bowl. Look at that. I'm so efficient. Okay, take everything out of the processor. Put it back in the bowl. And this is, it seems like it is a very oily sauce. You know, there's a lot of olive oil in this. So, I mean, don't be afraid. Goes a long way. So we'll put everything here. It smells real nice. And then all you got to do, I mean, this is the easiest in the world, and the flavor is unbelievable. If you've never had chimichurri sauce on a steak before, or on chicken, or on any, I mean, it's good over, you can use it to marinate like we've talked about here tonight. Now, all you have to do, just pour the olive oil right on top. There you go. And stir it in gently. Because, you know, if we'd done that in the food processor, I then would have had a, you know, been like a pesto. And that's not what I want. I don't want it to be that fine. I want some texture to my fresh herbs. All right, there we go. And again, the crushed reds, if for the heat, typically it is hot. When I first started making this years ago, I did always use fresh chilies myself. So that is okay, like I said, but I did some more research. I love to do research. Chef Francis Millman, he's a very famous chef from Patagonia in Argentina. He was like on Chef's Table, you know, the big Netflix program, and he uses dried stuff. He doesn't use the fresh. So that's also probably where, you know, he's located too. So he, anyways, doesn't use those. So it's absolutely fine. I can say it over and over and over again. Okay, so there is our chimichurri. Quick and easy, done, finished. Okay, now let's move on. Let's talk about the steak. Let's talk about the meat. So
Okay.
I have two different pieces
Camera,
of meat here. Yes.
The cutting board camera just went blue. Can you wiggle that that wire for me? Let's wiggle the cable.
I know what it is. Better?
No. Yeah.
Oh, I see. It went blue
it?
on the. I see it. I'm just gonna disconnect. Come on, baby.
Go. Saved.
Right. There we go. Oh, let's put the light back on though. There we go. Nope, got it all. The camera just decided to go out. So, all right, technical difficulties, all solved. So what was I saying about the beef? Right, so we're gonna talk about the beef. For the chimichurri, as I mentioned, skirt steak, guys. Skirt steak is very common. You can use flank steak too. Flank steak is a little bit leaner, but this is skirt steak right here or there, okay? And it's about a 1 pound skirt steak. Now let's talk about where it comes from, because skirt and flank come very close to each other. So it's in the down in the plate, the lower plate, and this is an inside skirt. There's inside and outside. The skirt steak is right around where your diaphragm is. So if I was a cow, you know, laying like this, do you want to play cow? No? Oh, okay. Maybe we'll save that for later. Okay, so here, the breast in a cow or cattle, you know, a steer, that's the brisket. That's where the famous brisket comes from. Okay, so it's underneath the arms and right across the breast. All right, yeah, this is the chuck, the shoulder and the arms, and then the shanks, fore shanks and hind shanks. But so below or behind the brisket is the skirt steak, and there's inside and outside. And then next to that on the belly is the flank steak. Okay, so that's a little bit leaner because remember, as you're moving back on the steer, we talked about that before, like the round, okay, which is the hips, the rump, and the legs, okay, from the top of the femur down to the knee is very lean. Okay, that's why you really, you know, if you cook round, that's the 90-10 stuff, the ground round that has no fat, you know, very little fat in it. And the chuck in the front is got a lot of fat. Okay, and it works as well as your ribs and your loins, the center meats, the middle meats, as we call them, and here. So the flank is about here, and yeah, I got a lot of flank. Um, it's much leaner, but this is really not that fat either. So I want to talk a few things about this. So the skirt steak, when we buy steak, we buy meat in the grocery store, look for a couple of things. So this is a USDA choice Angus beef. Okay, now what do I mean? We talked about this last month, but when you're, in order for it to be USDA, you see that you got to see this shield right here that says USDA choice. All right. Not that it's just inspected, it's not, USDA inspected. A lot of places do that in ads and they sell on the grocery stores. Some of your budget stores and such will say, that it's inspected, USDA inspected meat, but they don't tell you what the grade is because it's ungraded or it's just lower grade like select, or it's what they call no roll, where they just don't inspect it at all. They don't grade it at all. It's all inspected. Can't be sold. So that's right here, the U.S. establishment. And then here's the establishment number, 332R. This is all part of McLean Farms out of Texas. They're a huge farm. They have farms all over. I think this meat actually comes from Georgia because it's closer to Florida. But they have ranches now all over the place, and they service primarily one big name retailer out of Arkansas. Okay. And that's where they get all their Angus beef. They started at Angus beef, and Angus is Angus. Okay. So, and what is Angus? Angus is a type of steer. In order to tell, about it, it's predominantly black. Okay. It has to have these special characteristics, 90% black. Okay. From head to tail. And then they grow it a different way. Dairy cows, Holsteins and such, they grow up and then out first because they grow up. So the udders come down because they're used for milking, and you want to be able to get the udders so you can milk the cows. I like how I do that. So the Angus steer, though, it grows out first and up second. So they got little short stubby legs, and they're big, wide, round steers. So what happens is you've got nice, better looking meat because remember, the meat comes off the back, not the insides. So when they're big and wide, so then your New York strips or your prime ribs have nice big eyes and they're wide, and they're a little bit more compact. But on the Holstein, which the Holstein meat is also very good. I've sat in on studies with that, with groups of people, and served Holstein and served graded Holstein and graded Angus, and half the people like the Holstein, half the people like the Angus. So it's not that it's better, but it does produce a better piece of beef. Where the Holstein New York strips are really long and skinny. So if you want to get a nice New York strip, they're kind of shaped like that. Where the Angus is more square, rectangular, sort of long and skinny. So that's the main thing. It produces a much nicer cut of beef. Okay. So this is our Angus skirt steak. Now, when you buy skirt steak, you typically have to, you're going to have to clean it a little bit. All right. Flank steak, pretty much no. You can take it right out of the package and go. Flank steak, though, a little bit thicker, and you have to, when you carve it, you have to cut it. There's a special way to cut it on an angle, or else it'll be tough. It can be, chewy. So, but this is not real thick, as I can show you. All right. It's got a little bit of cover fat on it. And that's all we really have to do is take off some of the cover fat. And you can see it's very, almost like stringy in the sense, the way, it's not real tight muscle. It's the diaphragm. Okay. You got to think about what the muscle does. So all I would do at this point is take my bony knife and just start trimming away some of this fat. We're going to put that down there. Okay. And trim. Get right underneath it. And that's the technique. You want to take your knife and get it underneath and just trim it off. Okay. It's not real thick fat like you have on on a strip loin or a top sirloin or a ribeye or something that you can just take it with those. If you get those subprimals, I mean, they've got, fat like that. So you got to really clean them. But this is not that much. A lot of this will melt away, so you don't have to spend a ton of time cleaning and removing. But we don't want our meat to be real fatty, so we'll do our best to take some of this off, okay? Okay, there we go. See, that's looking better already. Okay, not much work to do. I hope my chefs that are watching are saying, man, he's doing a good job. This guy's all right. No, there's chefs out there watching, you know. I'm just fishing for compliments. Used to butcher all our own meat at some of the restaurants I used to run back in the day, when you didn't buy everything pre-cut and pre-portioned, which is the way to do it today. It's a lot, you make a little bit more money. Well, it's a discussion. If you can use all the trim, if you're going to clean meat yourself, then you can save money. But if you're not going to use all that trim, all that fat and such, then you're not going to save money. You might as well buy portion cuts. And then there's nothing left to chance. And also finding good butchers today is not as easy either. Not as, you can't find these trained people. Okay. Some of this you can even just take your hands and peel off if you wish. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. But we'll peel off this big piece on the edge. I'm doing my best just to take the tissue, not much meat. Okay. My butcher in South Bend, he would take his knife with pieces like this then, and he would hold it and he would strip that little bit of meat off, and he would save that and save that and save that. And at the end of the day, after cleaning all his tenderloins and strip loins, he'd have enough to make himself a hamburger for lunch. But he didn't waste. Bob just would not waste. So, all right, so here's our skirt steak, okay? We're not going to marinate this because we don't need to. It's pretty quick and easy, but I am going to cut it in a couple different pieces, different ways. So cut one nice half piece and a couple of like 4-ounce portions. This is a 1 pound. So I got an 8-ounce just so we can show you, because you can serve it as a steak, okay, if you wish. Now, if I was in the restaurant, I would trim this up a little bit, make it a little more square, also make it cookie more even, okay? That one's okay, and that's all right. Now, when you do carve this, and I'll show it after it's cooked, but you can see how the lines run this way, okay? How the tissue, the muscle strands, you have to cut against it. So your knife has to be at a 90-degree angle after it's cooked. If you cut it this way, it's going to be tough as nails, okay? Because you need to shorten those muscle bundles so they're chewable. You ever have brisket that's cut the wrong way and it's all long and, tissuey, and then you're like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr." Not real good. Okay, so here is I'm going to put them on my screen for cooking. Okay, and we got our chimichurri. Let me take this over here and clean this up. As long as the camera doesn't fall off the table. There we go. There we go. And yes, I will clean this before I carve meat. In fact, I'll go back to the other cutting board. So I won't cross-contaminate, won't use the raw meat. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Mindy. She's my health department watcher here. So I am going to wash real quick. It's my training. I have to clean as you go. Austin, you should do this in your own kitchen. Clean as you go, clean as you go. Nothing should be, just sit around until later. You got a quick break, take it. It only takes a couple of seconds to wipe and clean up a few things. Okay. Not much here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to hold on to this because there may be some salvageable meat there that I can cook for later or do something with. Okay. Next, we are going to move into the speedies. Okay, and those are the New York marinades, and that's already partially done because speedies have to marinate for a long time. You're supposed to marinate them for like 24 hours. Okay, which I didn't get to do, but I still got several hours into it, so that's okay. Okay, let that sit. Maybe that one's sitting dry. Had the pineapple on it. Okay, enough of that. All right, so the speedies. Now, the speedy, as I mentioned, these are basically kebabs, okay, which is great for grilling season. You got guests over. This is something you can make up the day before. You can either marinate, all the meats in the stuff in the marinade and then put it on the skewers the next day. Or you can go ahead and skewer the meat and marinate it right on the skewer, because that's good too. Keeps the skewers soft so they don't burn up on the grill. So you can have all that done the day before. Now, one thing I do like to do, so you'll see, here is this is the speedy marinade. So this is, again, another with dry, okay? Dry parsley, dry, let me give you this, got a lot of different stuff in it. So this olive oil, lemon juice, white vinegar, okay? Garlic, parsley, basil, oregano, and a little more garlic, granulated, and mint, and then the meat of choice. Now, this is real simple. It's just the recipes are already posted on the Aortic Hope support page under files, like I always do. In fact, I think they already popped up on the regular feed, so you can look at these. I didn't think I really had to show you how to measure a teaspoon of this and a tablespoon of that. So this is all made, but that is the marinade with the lemon juice and the olive oil and the vinegar and such. And I'm saving it because I got some other stuff I'm going to put into it later. But here's sirloin. I'm using sirloin, top sirloin, that I've been marinating for several hours. Okay, I cut it into chunks. Now let's take a look. I saved a piece of this, what I'm going to marinate later. Here is a piece of top sirloin. Now, where is top sirloin from? Top sirloin is farther to the back here, in the back of the loin, in front of the round. Okay, so it's kind of like your hip. That's where the sirloin is. So it's not as tender as a tenderloin, nowhere near, or even a New York strip or a ribeye, but it's still steak tender, great for grilling, great for kebabs, great for even pan saute like stroganoff, things like that. But it's got a little more chew to it, but it's got a lot more flavor because that particular muscle gets worked more. The more it works, the more you get, the more flavor you get. Okay, so put these on here and get it all done at once. My air fryer is set to 425. And we're going to run for about 6-8 minutes. And I think the kebabs are going to take a little bit longer than that. When I put them in, then I can talk about this piece of sirloin, as you can see. And notice I did just the meat, all right? And there is a reason for that. Go. Set that timer. Now, if you're doing this in a regular air fryer, my fancy dancy stove has an air fryer built into it. So does my microwave now. It's got an air fryer built into it. But if you're using a regular tank style air fryer with the baskets, you're going to need to, like this skirt steak, because it's very thin. You can, if you go up to 425, you can use that temp, but only 400 is fine. But you're going to need to turn it. So you're going to like go 3.5 minutes, pull the basket out, turn the steaks over, or switch if you got a double basket, flip them, okay, and then put it back in and finish. In this oven, I don't really think I'm going to need to. It's a little more powerful, and I think we'll be okay. So here's the sirloin. Now this is like what they call a top butt steak. You've probably seen them in the grocery store. You notice it's quite lean. So, but great flavor, good color. I didn't even trim this. This is the way it looks. This would be about a 4-ounce steak. You see them cut this way. In the market. A whole top sirloin is complicated. They're about 10, 12 pounds. They have 3, 4 different muscles. And you need, if you want to break one down, I do, but that's really kind of a chef thing because it's got these different muscles. You need to separate them and you can cut really nice steaks. But even if you get a whole big, like a 2-pound piece of top sirloin, you'll have 2 of those muscles usually, maybe 3. And the best thing to do, you can either roast the whole thing whole or put on the grill and then, slice it down or separate it. You can see the natural lines where the muscle are separated, and go ahead and separate them, then cut it up. Okay. But it's a real nice piece of meat. It's about $10 a pound. I'm going to throw this in my marinade. So Mindy can have some tomorrow. I've also got a couple of lamb chops I'm going to throw in there. So we'll have a nice meal out of that. Now, while that cooks, also made some other things to go with the meal. All right, because this was pretty simple. You got to have some veggies, right? So I already grilled these off, and I made some vegetable kebabs. Now, looking at this, you're like, Rob, what are you doing? Don't you just put everything together? Like when you make the steak, then the onion, then the zucchini, and the pepper, then the steak, and the tomato. No, I don't do that because they all cook at different times. So I find it's better off. I have more control. I put all the steak on one kebab. Zucchini take a different time to cook than peppers and onions. Now, peppers and onions are fine. They're about the same. All right. They, cook about the same time. Mushrooms on their own. Then I also did some sweet potatoes. I love grilling sweet potatoes, and they take a little bit more than all of them. But so I take the sweet potato and I just slice it. Okay. And then if you're in a hurry, you can throw it in the microwave, and then you can mic it for 3 minutes first to get it soft. Then it only takes about 5 minutes on the grill or in the air fryer as well. But so then when we serve this up, we're going to put the meat down, and then, then you can push all this off right on into the plate and mix it up, and people can help themselves. Okay, we do this a little bit family style. All right. But it's really important. I didn't do any tomatoes tonight, but they blister fast and then they break. So try not to have things overcooked, and especially if you're doing chicken, because you got to get that up to 165 degrees. It may take a little bit longer. The beef, we're going to go for medium rare. If you're doing shrimp, they cook really fast, right? And you put shrimp with the peppers and the onions and all that, they're not going to be done. Okay. The shrimp will be done, but the vegetables won't. They'll still be raw. So separate it. Have control over your grill and the foods on the grill. Marinate a lot. Marinades add all sorts of flavor when you're grilling. So try to do that, and you'll have nothing but great success. All right. Now, pineapple. And basically, when that meat comes on, I'm going to throw it on the rack and put it back in the oven, in the air fryer, and just cook it. I get nice grill marks on it until it gets soft. And on the grill outside, takes maybe 5 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes on a side. I feel like it's dripping. Okay, so we'll put it back down over here and leave it. Oh, I see it popped. The thing opened up. Anyways, so that's the story, guys. Now, give me a few minutes. Let this stuff cook. We got another 1 minute. Let's take a look at the meat, how it's doing. Yep. Oh, it looks great. Okay. When you do things in your air fryer, if you have one of these oven type air fryers, you need to brush everything with oil, okay, or else it will dry out terribly. So you want to brush a little. In fact, I'm working so fast, I didn't even brush my skirt steak with oil, but it'll be all right. A little bit less fat. It'll be good for us. All right. Mindy's smiling again, you see. Okay. There we go. No, that is not bad. Got some plates. Got my chimichurri over here. I'm going to need a spoon to serve it, huh? Yep. Yes, thank you. She approves of my plate choice. There we go. A little spoon. Now, there we go. What you want to do when the meat comes out, you do want to let it rest. Okay. This needs a little bit more time yet. All right. And I am going to flip it. Still a little bit rare. Looking pretty good though. Okay. And I'm going to brush it. I got some of that speedy marinade. It's fine. I'll brush that on the skirt steak real quick. I could turn my broiler on and just get a nice char going on it. Because what? Your aluminum pans are fine. That's what they're made for. No, it'd be more about the silpat that's in there. Yes, that would not be so good. So give another 2 minutes. But actually, here's what I'll do, because I don't want to take too long here. So I'm going to pull one of these out. That back in for another.
No, do not put that plate in the microwave.
Thank you. I'm not. Why would I microwave the meat? No, I'm not going to put steak in the microwave, Benny. It's okay. Now, why do I, or everybody tell you, to take a piece of foil and when you take steak off the grill, cover it, let it sit, because you want it to equalize. When beef roasts or even steaks cook, a lot of the juices are flowing around and moving around from the heat, and you want it to sit and rest for a couple of minutes, depending on how large it is. I mean, a steak, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. A roast, like if you're doing a big prime rib or something like that, or even a turkey, you can wait 15, 20 minutes before you cut it. Okay, and that way, otherwise it won't. All the juices won't come out all over your cutting board. So, all right, but we're going to pretend. Yes, I'm going to move on here. Okay. Now, remember I talked about the muscles? So, okay, so you can see the lines here. So we want to cut against that. And actually, if I stuck a thermometer here, this is a nice rare. It's probably about 130 degrees. Cut at a little bit of an angle, nice and thin, not too, ½ inch. It looks, on the top a little red because I didn't, if I turn that broiler on, we get a nice crust. Or outside to get a nice crust. But you see, it is nice. Okay. If you like, I like rare meat. Everybody here likes rare meat. So we can go with that. So we take a plate. Place some of that. Okay. Going to take our chimichurri sauce right over. There we go. Lovely. Let me put this on the other plate. In 1 second. I don't want to stick the plate in the meat juice. There we go. Keep it clean. And let's put some veggies on there. Just take a fork. And also, it's easy. Don't try to take the fork and pull the zucchini off the skewer. Just hold the zucchini and pull the skewer. Much easier to work with that way. Unless the fork gets stuck. There we go. Look at all that beautiful color. Sweet potato over here. Okay. And maybe another one over here. And if we're going to be a mushroom crowd, we'll just lay that right on top. Okay. So there you have the skirt steak with chimichurri and vegetables. And let me grab the other out now. I'm going to take it out. And even if it's not quite ready, use one of the regular plates because the speedy is typically served on Italian bread. You make a sandwich out of it. So, believe it or not, we went to the store. I did not have time. Shonda, I did not make my own bread. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Or, you could do it fajita style and use some tortillas and put it in a tortilla, or pita bread would be really good for this item. Okay. So we're going to slide that over, pick it up, move it there. Here we go. We're down to 8 seconds, so I think I did timing pretty good here. There we go. Looking good. Perfect. Yep, I hear you. Okay. Again, we want this to rest a little bit, but we're going to just lay it right there on the bread. Okay. These I'm going to put back on the plate. See how nice now that looks, the difference. Okay, a few more minutes does wonders. Okay, and we can do some veggies on this one too. And even if the guests would probably want some of those like peppers and onions right there on the bread to go along with the sandwich like that. Be really nice, tasty. Okay. Doop, doop, doop. Got to have a little potato. A little sweet potato fry would be good. Okay. And, well, we'll save the zucchini on that one. A little bit of our speedy marinade. Brush that on the veggies and the bread. Nice and moist. Okay. See if we can get that all in. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Perfect. There we go. So we have our two grilled beef items. We have our steak, our skirt steak with chimichurri and vegetables, and our speedy, which is our top sirloin, which we've got cubed up. I mean, we saw them today in the store. Minnie sent me a picture because she had to go run and get something. I bought that top sirloin for like $10.49 a pound. So their meat's expensive. We know it. That's why it's a good motivation to have smaller portions, which is what you need to do anyways. But they were selling the kebabs already made up, the beef on the kebab with the peppers and onions and tomatoes. Okay, the way I don't like to do it, but it was $11.99. So they charge $1.50 a pound for them to skewer that meat. Okay, not that big, Yeah, and you're paying that $11.99 for the weight of the tomatoes and the zucchini or then the peppers and onions, whatever vegetables are on there. And you don't pay $12 a pound for onions. Okay. But you do when they do it like that. So better off doing it yourself. So here's our two. The pineapple will go in, but I'm not going to take the time for you guys to do that. I'd rather you go home and, eat dinner or whatever. I think you can understand and figure out that the pineapple, just throw it on the grill. When it gets nice, when it gets caramelized, take it off the grill and plate it up, bowl it up, and serve it with some ice cream or whipped cream. As I mentioned, really simple. Or yogurt, whatever you want, okay? And you can do that with other fruits as well, but the pineapple works real well because it's hearty and holds up to the grill. I love grilled pineapple. It's a great item. So, Josh.
Yes, chef.
Questions, comments? Because I is done.
Yeah, we had quite a few people drop in for us tonight. That was great to see.
Excellent.
Thanks, everybody. Right away, we always want to say hi to Michael Smith, a chef out of Toronto. Velda, she's out of Prince Edward Island. We love her. Chef Tom dropped in to say hello, everyone. Melissa says it's hot here. Also, Velda, we were talking temperatures there. And so Melissa had a question. She says, let me see if I can find this. Can you use picana cut meat, the top of the sirloin?
Say that again.
Can you use picana cut meat, the top of the sirloin?
Picana cut meat, the top of the sirloin. Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Like the sirloin flap, which is a really nice cut of meat.
Okay. And Jason, our resident artist, dropped in to say hi.
Oh, great.
Yeah. He says he might be
Haven't
checking
heard from
in
Jason
with us
in a while.
While he's working hard at his giant paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Chef Tom says, great presentation. You have skills. Thank you for your knowledge.
Thank you, Chef. Appreciate it.
Right? Melissa
Yes.
says, Rob, inspirational, but I will try this with chicken and avocado oil.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I said that in the beginning. Chicken, pork, beef. You can use you could do shrimp. Anything you want. It's all adaptable. But I promise to continue with the part 2 of beef. So work it any way you want and any healthy oil that you like to use. Olive oil, avocado, even canola. Is good for you. So, all right. Anything else?
No, that catches us up with the chat. It was good conversations in there. Everybody's suffering through this heat wave, and yet the grilling got rained out. Thank you to that Florida rain.
Yeah, but they just named
storm.
That's not what's hitting us, but yes, they just named the first Alberto, the first named storm of the season, is in the Gulf of Mexico and is heading into Mexico and West Texas. It's already a named tropical storm. We have a tropical depression off the East Coast in the Atlantic that is already causing havoc down in Miami, and we're getting some spillover up here. I thought they made drugs for those tropical depressions. Oh, bad joke.
Nah, it's all in the water.
Fell in the water. Yeah, I didn't make a splash, huh? Okay, well, everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us and for this entire season. So this was, episode 10, season 2. So that's been 2 years now that we've been doing this program. And we look forward to seeing you next year. And again, keep up with us over the summer on the Aortic Hope Facebook page. I'll be posting lots of pictures and maybe a few videos.
Have a great summer.
Enjoy, guys. Play safe.